Well, Ben, Settree has been involved and successfully in harness racing now for numerous decades. I caught up with Ben to have a chat about his career in harness racing, which wasn't his first choice as far as employment was concerned. Well, Ben, first of all, it's good to catch up with you after so many years, and as I mentioned in the introduction, so many different levels of your career, but it all started out with the Pony Club.
Yeah, that's right. As a young fellow, family were involved in the Pony Club, and it wasn't until I met Melanie in our final year at university that I got interested in harness racing.
As you mentioned, the university, Bachelor of Science in Agriculture and majored in Animal Science, so what path were you going on?
Yeah, initially I wanted to get into vet science. That was the plan as a young bloke, but didn't get the marks to get straight into that, and I thought, well, I'll go through ag science and then try to transfer across or whatever, but as time went on, I was probably enjoying the idea of university too much to put my head down and study as hard as I should have. But we had a great time there, and when I left uni, I wasn't 100% sure where I was going, but I walked out of uni and went into a job selling grain, actually, which was a far cry from being animal science. But I did that for about 12 months, and then moved down to Sydney to be closer to Mel, and that's where the harness racing really took off.
Yeah, we're talking about Melanie Moore, as she was known back in those days. So how did that relationship then develop into a harness racing career?
Yeah, look, Mel was training a couple of horses. People might remember a little mare called Yelt Yow, that Mel was training while doing her final year of university, and it was through meeting her at uni and started to work a few horses with her, just jogging, whatever, and then, to be perfectly honest, on the Oldman Angle track here, she gave me a fast work drive one day, and I basically just grinned from ear to ear and said, how long has this caper been going on? And fell in love with it from that moment.
Of course, Melanie, the daughter of Jeanette and Doug Moore, and very successful in running Brooklyn Lodge.
Yeah, Mel's now sort of taken the reins more so. Doug and Jan have taken a slight step back, but Melanie's the boss there. She's the stud manager. She does all the AI work and all the mare work, whatever. The rest of us have our roles in supporting that. But Mel's certainly the one in charge, particularly when it comes to the yearlings, as everyone knows.
Back in the late 90s, Melanie was also based at Harold Park back in those particular days as the CEO of APG.
Yeah, that was what Mel went into pretty much straight out of uni. She took over that role and did it quite successfully. We were living at Riverston at the time, and she was travelling into work from out at Riverston to Harold Park every day. I'd take my hat off to her in that traffic every day, but yeah, and for a while there I was working a few horses as a hobby and doing a bit of landscaping on the side.
Yeah, you had a break from harness racing there for a while and you decided to do a bit of travelling.
Yeah, we tried to get away a little bit. Travelling's been a passion of ours. We've been fortunate enough to be able to go away and take the kids away as they grew up and get overseas and see a lot of the world. Some people probably don't realise I took the kids and Mel and the kids and we rode across Mongolia one year. So we've had a hell of an experience in travelling. 2008, your crowning moment in harness racing. Yeah, I'd love another one like him. He was an absolute little gem, that horse. He was just a ready-made 2-year-old. There was nothing special that I did that made him or anything. He was just an up-and-goer, and he was probably the most precocious juvenile of that era. He won the Gold Crown. He was in 4 or 5 Group 1s that year as a 2-year-old, so he did a fantastic job. He taught me a lot. I'd like to have another one like him now and know what I know now. I think I could do it a little bit better, but he was a great horse.
Yeah, we're talking about MJM Grand and winning a Bathurst Gold Crown in front of virtually your home crowd must have been a wonderful thrill.
Oh, it was amazing. Like the people that patted me on the back and just during the presentation, looking into the crowd and seeing everyone. It was great to have a hometown victory, and everyone was so supportive. Yeah, we had a great time, and I've got to take my hat off to Mick and Kay McElroy. They owned the horse and supported me with him, so that was fantastic.
You gave the driving away about 7 or 8 years ago?
Yeah, I had a bad fall at the trials one night, and I'd been thinking about it for a long time, and it took me a long time to get over that fall. I wasn't majorly hurt, but I just took me a long time to get back in the bike and be comfortable, and to be perfectly honest, like I said, I'd been thinking about it for a while, and these young blokes, they go around 4 and 5 nights, 4 or 5 times per night, and their reflexes are just that little bit sharper and a little bit quicker, and I thought that was probably the best option for me, and focus more on the training and not be worried so much about the driving.
Ben, we've been very lucky in New South Wales to have so many successful studs. Brooklyn Lodge has been successful and a very important part of the growth in the industry as far as the breeding is concerned. A wonderful job, and you just had another successful sale.
Yeah, look, the sales were really tough at the lower end of the market. We were pretty good at the top end of the market. So, those more expensive horses generally take care of themselves. But, Brooklyn Lodge has been around for a long time. Doug and Janet have done an amazing job. They set it up close to 40 years ago. And, that was up at Scone, and it's had a couple of moves. It's moved over to Bathurst in 1999 and, had to relocate and reset everything there. And the property, lends itself really well to raising quality racehorses.
And Ben, one of the principal ideas as far as Brooklyn Lodge is concerned is to let horses learn to play, run and be a horse first before they become a racehorse.
Yeah, that's one thing we're really big on, Mike, is raising them in big mobs, raising them in big paddocks. We'll run our colts and fillies, separately as weanlings, and they'll run in a paddock that's probably 100 to 120 acres. They run in a mob of 30 or 40, and they learn to compete with each other and play and whatnot. And it's amazing to watch all these young animals grow into athletes. But yeah, Doug and Janet did a lot of homework when they bought the property. They went looking for a property that was accustomed to having young horses. It's undulating country. There's water at one end of a paddock and we feed at the other end. We like to have them move. So that's part of our theory and our concept behind achieving the results that we do. So we're very keen to have them in those big mobs.
Yeah, no doubt the development of a horse as far as their physical nature is concerned is all important, but also keeping their mind fresh and keeping them active.
Yeah, and that's where being in a big mob is crucial. You can feed a horse properly in a yard, but he doesn't learn to develop. He doesn't learn to be that competitive edge, and he doesn't have the bone structure, I suppose, because he's just had a soft upbringing. Whereas we've got horses running up and down hills and competing with each other all day, every day, and that's natural. That's environmental. So we're really pleased to have it that way.
You've arrived at Menangle today, Ben, with a couple of horses. How many horses do you have in the stable now?
Yeah, there's only 7 in work at the moment, and that's a comfortable number. We try not to be too more than that. Generally do it by myself. My son will help and Mel will help if I need them, kind of thing. But at the moment, just having 7's a comfortable number. Nathan does a lot with me, Nathan Goulding. Everyone knows Nathan's, sort of my offsider at the races, so he does a terrific job for me when he can get away from work. So, yeah, 7's a nice number for us to do.
Yeah, you mentioned your son Justin along with your daughter Jessica. They haven't followed in Mum and Dad's footsteps as such, but geez, they've got exciting careers.
Yeah, they have. We're really, really proud of the kids. They did the mini trots for a while and both drove winners and whatnot and had a good time. But they've sort of fallen away from the horses. They were well into the pony club. Jess was a really good rider. She looked like going out on in the equestrian world, but sort of just lost its gloss to her a little bit, which is fine. She's found her passion in other areas, and she's actually studying in Canberra, doing a double degree in criminology and psychology. So yeah, we're really proud of her, and Justin's just finished year 12, and he's sort of between jobs at the moment in the fact that he's trying to get into air traffic control, and he's just achieved his recreational pilot's licence. He's about halfway through getting his private pilot's licence. So yeah, he's well and truly on his way in a field of his passion too.
Yes, I no doubt Justin's looking for his career to take off.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's doing it. He took Mum and Dad for a fly a couple of weeks ago. We had a great time. Amazing just to go up there, and yeah, he just had the whole world at his feet, literally, the way he was flying, and we were so impressed with his maturity and whatnot. So he's doing a great job. It's
amazing to think they've gone off in those paths, Ben, when their mum and dad are so deeply involved in harness racing.
Yeah, look, Jessie was the one that came to us a few years ago, and I think she was a little bit worried. She said, would we be upset if she didn't go into the horses? And we said, no, you've got to do what makes you happy in this world. So luckily for us, she's found something that has made her happy, and she's actively pursuing it. So yeah, we're really wrapped.
Well, Ben, you and Melanie have been certainly very happy in harness racing for many years now. You've had a good life as far as that is concerned. May it continue.
Yeah, harness racing's been great. We live a lifestyle that allows us to be busy at times, but we certainly get our downtime. Doug and Janet are terrific on the farm. Doug's accident sort of slowed them down a little bit. They used to travel a lot. They do still a little bit, but not as much as they did. But harness racing's been really good. So I've got no complaints.